Good morning. Welcome to Choosing the Given. Taking a deep breath, I invite you to let yourself land, appreciating all that you did, that you needed to do in order to be here to share this time together this morning. Breathing in to let your body settle into a comfortable position. And notice what it's like to be you right now. And if your eyes are closed, I invite you to gently open your eyes and take a moment to give your attention to the faces of who is here with you. Some of the faces are familiar, and some are new. And as you move slowly across each page, we have 2 pages, and you can just scroll with the arrow. See if you can invite an awareness that we have a shared reality. Letting yourself feel into the knowing that this person, just like me, has had to deal with circumstances they never imagined. We are living in a global and a personal world turned upside down. A profound knowing that we don't know what is to come. And for the past 3 months, we have been meeting these circumstances every morning, alone and together. Each of us has felt the impact. All of us are changed. We are gathered here together today to explore these impacts and changes, to reflect on what we've learned about ourselves. What is important to me? What can I let go of? What can I release? What is the new way of being that I want to live? What is the new story that we want to write together? Facilitating these explorations are the 3 teachers of Monterey Bay Meditation Studio. Katie Dutcher can give a wave, there she is. Jen Farley is waving from behind her picture there. You can see her. And myself, Marianne Rowe. And each of us will be offering a path of exploration. So I'm living through a pandemic. Now what?
And so I'm going to invite a short time of meditation and reflection. This will be about 10 minutes. So wherever you're seated right now, I'd like you to take a moment to check in with your own body and to adjust, make whatever adjustment you need to make to have this sense of steadiness, as much as possible, comfort and alertness. And then when you're ready, letting your eyes close. And I'll start by ringing the bell. So right where you're sitting, just inviting yourself to take a nice deep breath, expanding outward. The whole rib cage expanding and the belly. Perhaps this is the deepest breath that you've taken this morning, filling up all the way. And then slowly and completely releasing this breath. If you like, offering yourself a few more of these clearing, settling breaths, breathing all the way down into the belly. And as you breathe out, perhaps just a little extra settling in, the body releasing little pockets of tension. Smoothing and releasing through the muscles of the face. Inviting your breath now to just move at its natural pace. And dropping your attention, your focus of attention downward into your seat, sensing your seat in contact with the chair or whatever is underneath you. The whole lower body meeting with the support beneath you. Feeling that sense of contact, the sense of weight in the lower body. Whatever is underneath you, layer by layer, is connected eventually to the earth underneath. So if it's possible right now, perhaps sensing yourself held by the earth underneath you, underneath all of us. And inviting yourself now to reflect. Marianne helped us to recall what has been occurring, some of what has been occurring over these recent months and weeks, days. Much has shifted and is currently shifting. Collectively, personally. There's a knowing in the mind of this shift. There's a knowing in the heart and in the body, a sensing. Allowing yourself as you breathe to take a few moments and to just allow yourself to recall, what have I experienced? What am I experiencing? Perhaps there have been challenges, adjustments. Perhaps there have been surprises, startling, pleasant. Perhaps along the way, there have been discoveries, learnings, new connections. Whatever it is that has occurred, has unfolded and is still unfolding, here you are. Here you sit in this moment, present and whole. In a moment, I'll ring the bell to close this meditation. And before that, perhaps asking yourself this question to sense into: how am I arriving to this moment? Body, mind, heart, spirit, opening to this sensing. What is it like within me right now? So letting your eyes open. And I'm going to invite you to make your way over to the chat area if you can, and to just enter one word or perhaps a phrase. How am I arriving to this moment? What is it like in me right now? I'll read as things come in. Grateful, hopeful, gratitude, curious, deep peace, off balance, sun, passionate, opening the heart, content and calm, more and more learning to live in the here and now, sadness, peace and unsettling, stressed, willing to express, full of questions, peaceful, at peace, seeing new possibilities, tranquil, a pause, insightful, a blank canvas, calm, happy, relief, thank you for your presence here and your presence with yourself, softened, relaxed. Whatever is showing up for you, however you're arriving into this moment, you know this, and I'll invite this remembering that it is all welcome. We can welcome all of these states of being and offer spaciousness. So offering that spaciousness for whatever is here to be here, and at the same time holding it lightly, knowing that it continues to shift our way of being. So here we offer this soft landing for all the emotions, all the thoughts, and the work of this moment. We can also, as we are beginning, as we're moving into this time together, we can really invite a sense of trust that the practices and the invitations of today will come to you in just the way that is right for you in this moment. And knowing that there's nothing that comes up or that comes through that can really distract you or ruin or mess up this, because it's all part of it. It is all what's given right now. So whatever comes up is the work of this moment. And as we saw or heard in the messages that you wrote in the chat here, we can see that there is room for so much here being experienced. There's this there's diversity in what we're sensing, peace, unsettled, sometimes in the same person in the same moment. So there's that uniqueness in our current situations and our emotions. And at the same time, there's a shared intention. We're all here. And there's a shared intention to open and to connect with what is here. So even now, even through this moment, our experiences today and how we meet this time together, we are practicing choosing the given, opening to this moment and our experience.
So in this next bit of time that we're together, we're going to be inviting an experiential exploration of receiving support and receiving activation of our innate resilience, connection, and wisdom by the world outdoors. As Katie invited us to feel a sense of connection with the earth in the meditation, to let yourself now just recall that, oh, we are all, even though we're in these little separate rectangles, we all are sitting on this planet together, that this is a sharing as well as an individual experiencing. And we're going to be looking at the basic human needs for navigating a time of uncertainty, of change, and the unknown. So as we together and individually step into the realm of living beyond a pandemic, beyond sheltering in place, and beyond the processing of the death of George Floyd, there's a call for giving attention to what has been lost, as well as what has been gained. What do I do? What do I know now about myself and about my relationships and about my life, as well as the world that I live in? What do I know now that I did not know in February 2020? And as I become aware of knowing, what is it that I need to access? So given that never before has there been a global pause like we have experienced and are continuing to a degree to continuing to experience, we have the opportunities to make significant changes in our personal, in our cultural, and our worldviews. The page has been cleared for writing a new story, if we choose. So for inspiration of the resources that we can access that have been here far longer than the relatively brief span of time that human beings have been making tools, building and tearing apart nations, creating art, and making some serious and intense mischief on the planet, I want to offer some perspective with some numbers. So just sit back and if it helps to close your eyes, to let your imagination zoom out for this perspective, please do so. So evidence indicates that the universe came into existence 13.7 billion years ago. And from that huge cloud of gases, the planet Earth formed about 4.5 billion years ago. Life appeared on this planet about 3.5 billion years ago. Insects buzzed in about 406 million years ago. Trees took root about 385 million years ago. Mammals began their journey 200 million years ago. And humans stood up and began their walking 66 million years ago. So if you look at humanity's development in a 1-year time frame, with the start being the 2nd of January 1st, human beings appeared on December 31st at midnight. We've not been here very long. This means that everything we see outdoors has seniority. Everything. So it only makes sense to go to the elders, to the ancestors, for support and guidance for navigating a period of chaos and confusion. After all, they've been through and experienced so much more for so much longer. So the invitation for the next half hour, and perhaps even beyond the end of this retreat, is to open to receiving support, guidance, and teachings from sources other than our own thinking, it's all up to me to figure all this out, part of our mind. The key to unlocking the door is to drop into a space of, I don't know, and I'm ready to listen. So for this experience, you simply start where you are, with the first inkling of, right now, this is what I need. So you received in a recent email a handout. And on this handout, there are 3 fundamental needs of being human. These are needs that all of us share because we're human beings. So we're going to take a moment now to go through them. And if you'd like to close your eyes as to listen to the words and the quotes, or if you let yourself do that, to let those words and quotes in, or if you prefer to contemplate the symbol, you can look at it here on the screen or on your piece of paper. And let yourself notice what happens in your body. Your body is going to be sending you some cues about what is needed right now. So just notice. You may receive a signal of this is a place to start, as a lift in your energy, or a pain in your heart, a relaxation in your belly, or fidgeting in your posture, maybe even a tear in your eye. Whatever sends you a signal of, yeah, that's what I'm needing right now. Or the signal could show up as a resistance. Whatever form your signal takes, comfortable or uncomfortable, it is pointing to the doorway that is opening for you right now, a chance to receive assistance in meeting this need. That doorway is the seed of your inquiry, an invitation to step through with curiosity, to listen and to feel whatever comes to you. Just as a reminder, this is not a job for the thinking, figuring out part of your mind. That part deserves to take a rest. It's been very busy. So it can just rest or tone down a bit for the next half hour. So receiving needs, basic human needs. As I read through these needs, I again invite you to close your eyes or look down in service of bringing your attention inward, to sensing your body or noticing its guidance, or to let your gaze rest on the symbol. The first need is a need for resilience. The questions that arise when we are needing resilience are, how do I make it through? How am I resourced? And the symbol for the need for resilience is the redwood tree. And letting yourself just picture in your mind's eye a redwood tree, or perhaps even having a sense of it in your body, sensing the smell of a redwood. John O'Donohue wrote, "When the mind is festering with trouble or the heart torn, we can find healing among the silence of mountains or fields, or listen to the simple, steadying rhythm of waves. The slowness and stillness gradually take us over. Our breathing deepens and our hearts calm and our hungers relent. When serenity is restored, new perspectives open to us, and difficulty can begin to seem like an invitation into new growth. Rather than taking us out of ourselves, nature coaxes us to go deeper inwards, teaches us to rest in the serenity of our elemental nature." Feeling into the need of resilience. How have you experienced that over these past few months? And how are you experiencing that right now? The second need that you are invited to feel into is the need for connection. The questions for this need are, where do I belong? Who or what do I care about? The symbol for the need for connection offered here is the mycelial network, the fungi that connect all the everythings in the forest, feeding, nourishing, communicating. Underneath every step that we take on the earth, there is this network communicating our presence on this planet. Victoria Erickson wrote, "When stressed or overwhelmed, the immediate relief is always in the softening and in the surrendering. Your surrounding world already offers its medicine everywhere. Place your hands in the soil to feel grounded. Wade into water to feel cleansed and healed. Fill your lungs with fresh air to feel mentally clear. Raise your face to the heat of the sun to feel your own immense power. You are part of the earth and comprised of the very same elements. And this is something you should remember. Sensing into the activation of your need for connection right now. How is that showing up right now? How has that shown up in the past few months? Where do you sense that need in your body? And the third need that we'll be exploring is the need for wisdom. The need for wisdom offers the questions of what does it all mean? What is being asked of me? And the symbol for the need for wisdom is the universe as photographed by the Hubble telescope. The galaxies, the stars, the space, the emptiness, the depth of the black holes. This is a need that is universal, that is sourced in the universe. And as a reflection of the need for wisdom, I offer this reading of a poem by Khalil Gibran called Fear. It is said that before entering the sea, a river trembles with fear. She looks back at the path she has traveled from the peaks of the mountains, the long winding road crossing forest and villages. And in front of her, she sees an ocean so vast that to enter there seems nothing more than to disappear forever. But there is no other way. The river cannot go back. Nobody can go back. To go back is impossible in existence. The river needs to take the risk of entering the ocean because only then will fear disappear. Because that's where the river will know it's not about disappearing into the ocean, but of becoming the ocean. So pausing now to note which of these three needs evoked the most noticeable sensation or the strongest energy, comfortable or uncomfortable. Resilience, connection, wisdom. Perhaps you had a sensation or a need for all three, but one of them may have been a bit stronger or a bit more insistent than the others. And I invite you to make a brief note of the sensation that was experienced. You can write it down or just note it mentally. And then don't think about the sensation anymore. Drop any inclination that there might be to analyze or to judge. And let unrequited curiosity be all that remains about this need. So we are going to be going outdoors now for a brief period of time. And while you're outdoors, you're invited to receive some support or some guidance from the universe, your elder, and the source of your physical being. So for the next 7 minutes, I invite you to get in touch with the outdoors, either by stepping outside, not going far because you'll be coming back soon, but stepping outside, or by holding a representation of the outdoors that you have with you. Or if you can just look out a window or the doorway as a way of visually connecting with the outdoors. And if you go outside, then let yourself find a spot nearby, perhaps close to a tree or a plant or a source of water, where you can sit comfortably, or you can even lie down and look up to the sky if that's what calls you. And then simply whisper to the universe an expression, something that communicates, right now I have a need for, and then ask for its guidance or support. And then take yourself some deep breaths and let yourself settle into a listening mode, like a child listening to a favorite fairy tale, and receive whatever comes to you. So I will sound the chime for you to move and adjust so that you can see or go outdoors. I'll sound the chime once. And then find a place as quickly as you can and let yourself just be there for about 3 minutes, connecting and opening to listening and whispering what your need is, what your request is. And then I will sound the chime for you to come back in and resettle yourself here. And let yourself just open to receiving what has been evolving for 13.5 billion years has to offer for you. Are there any questions? And you can just unmute yourself if there's a question, because I can't see all of you. Okay. Find your spot or your item and let the questioning and the listening begin. So coming on back now and letting yourself resettle. And so I invite you to continue this practice of noticing what is needed, and then inviting yourself to go outdoors or to have some outdoors inside that can offer you some support or assistance or guidance in some way. That it's there, as Jeanette and Gretchen found. And so sometimes we find it inside of us, sometimes we find it around us or with people that we know. But these needs of resilience and connection and wisdom, they're needs because they are things that exist and we're just lost access to them right now. So it's about remembering how to regain access to these innate parts of ourselves.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jen Farley, and I've been a teacher with the Meditation Studio now for about 3 years, and it's been really wonderful to be a part of the studio and see it grow. And this is a really exciting evolution of the growth of the studio. I also really love being able to see some of the faces of the names from Mighty Networks that I've become familiar with that I haven't been able to meet in person yet. And so it's been nice to make those connections, because I am feeling the presence from our online community on Mighty Networks, and so it's really great. I am a shamanic healer and a body-based psychotherapist, and my offerings with the studio typically
interweave some sort of embodied form of shamanic practice or shamanic meditation skills. And so this is what I'm offering today. The bulk of my study in shamanism comes from Andean lineages of shamanic teaching. And there's shamanic cultures all throughout the world, and they're varied in their practices. Most have some foundational, universal perspectives. And I do think that the one I'm sharing with you today is one of those more universal principles. And I think that it could be perhaps helpful in us continuing to really move forward and feel empowered in how we continue to make sense of what's happening in the world around us. So from the shamanic perspective, the universe is oriented towards continued evolution and expansion. Key foundational principle. So I'll just say that one more time, because that's really the basis of where I'm inviting you to go today. That from the shamanic perspective, the universe is oriented towards continued evolution and expansion. And so if we continue with that perspective, then we could say that, or invite the experience that everything that we experience, every situation that happens, there is opportunity to find meaning of that situation that serves our continued evolution. Now, continued evolution isn't necessarily sunshine and rainbows. Evolution is a nitty-gritty process. And so the meaning and what is present for you might not be pleasant. It might not be the universe gently giving you something on a pillow to make meaning of. But that no matter what the situation, there is opportunity for us to take a moment and make sense of what's happening in a way that will serve our continued growth, our continued evolution, will give us a clue to how we continue to thrive in the world. And if we take a moment to consider that is true, then there's a lot of possibility for choice and a lot of possibility to feel really empowered in the world, no matter what's happening. So that the idea being that life happens, like as Marianne was like guiding us in her meditation earlier, we're blips on the radar of what has been created over time in the cosmos, from the earth, that life has been happening for a really long time and will continue to happen. Life happens. And if we are present and have the courage to really acknowledge life as this continued flow towards evolution, then we can have choice in how we make meaning of life, and how that helps us progress and help us thrive. So that's the invitation for us to consider today. And from the shamanic perspective, this idea is called understanding the medicine in the situation, or receiving the medicine in a situation. So if I had a fight with my friend and I went to a shaman to help me through and process and heal from that fight, he or she would largely be the process that it'd be helping me with, or working with my energy around, would be, where's the medicine in that conflict? What needs to be brought forth so that I can see it and learn and look at that to help me grow and to help me thrive, personally, in the relationship, and then even beyond that. So we're going to go on a guided meditation today with that goal of understanding the medicine, receiving the medicine in a current situation that's personal to you. So I call this meditation the Ebenezer Scrooge meditation, because if you recall the story of A Christmas Carol, Scrooge gets visited by three spirits, essentially, and he is taken to view different circumstances from his future, from his present, from his past, with the help of this kind of spiritual guide there. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to identify a specific distressing situation that you've experienced recently, and on a scale of 1 to 7, 1 being not a big deal, 7 being traumatizing, I'm looking for like a 4 and below. So something that's kind of moderately distressing. And I trust that all of you will be able to kind of choose what feels okay and safe for you to explore today. So you're going to choose one situation. Like I said, it might be a fight with a friend. It might be with things opening up here in California more. It might be this kind of, do I go to a restaurant or not? Do I go to a park or not? I don't know, whatever it is. So choosing a situation. And then in the guided meditation, I'm going to invite you to revisit that circumstance, watching it kind of Ebenezer Scrooge style. So watching it play out as if you're part of the energy of evolution that's surrounding and supporting the situation. So you might envision some sort of guide along with you, like Ebenezer had. Could be an ancestor, a deity, a saint, an angel. But it could, from the shamanic perspective, going along with what Marianne was teaching, it could also be the nature that's surrounding you in that actual situation. So if the circumstances happened outside, shamans feel that the trees are witnessing you and trying to support you in the situation. The wind is, the sun is, the ground is, that these are alive, energetic entities that are part of trying to tell you how to move through and support you in whatever circumstances you're in. If the situation happened indoors, the wood of the furniture, the actual air that's there, the energetic presence, there is no kind of void in shamanism. Everything's alive around you energetically, and everything in that space is trying to advance creation and trying to advance evolution at a given point in time. And so in this, you're going to be invited to step outside yourself and join in feeling what that sort of flow is trying to communicate or trying to show you in relation to that circumstance. So hopefully that makes some sense. And if not, I invite you to just go along for the ride and see what happens. So taking a few moments once again to settle in and begin to internally focus once again. If that involves closing your eyes, letting that happen. If it's not feeling good for your eyes to be closed, just allowing them to find a gentle gaze somewhere. Taking a few moments to focus on the breath, really letting the breath bridge from an external place of focus to your internal world. Noticing if the mind is trying to kind of spin and make sense of everything or figure it out or make sure you're about to do this right. And just compassionately assure your mind that it's all good. There is no right or wrong. That perhaps it's okay to go with the flow of this and just see what happens. Being curious, being open. And taking a few moments now to reflect on and identify one particular situation that you feel curious in understanding more for the purposes of this exploration today. Perhaps letting the breath help your intuition just naturally let whatever situation it is bubble up or present itself organically. And once your personal intuition has identified which situation you're curious to explore further, I now invite you to allow the breath to help you go back to that situation even before it started playing itself out. Rewind the tape back a bit and find yourself observing, joining with the flow of the universe, joining with the movement of evolution, the movement of expansion that's always happening with the universe. You might find yourself kind of floating in the air above. You might find yourself with a tree, with a guide that shows itself. You might just kind of feel formless, part of the essential energetic flow that's happening, part of the wind. You are your own fly on the wall in this situation, but a fly with the deep understanding that this is a step towards evolution. And as you're there, begin to allow the situation to play itself out and unfold. And notice what you come to realize, what you come to know as you witness from the wise perspective of the evolutionary flow. If the thinking brain or intellect is trying to figure it out, compassionately remind the brain, remind the mind that you're connected to a timeless wisdom. Feeling free to pause the tape, rewind it again, let the situation unfold. As many times as feels right to continue to understand how the universe sees it. And perhaps there's points where you zoom out really, really big, feeling the true expansiveness of all the universe encompasses and how your situation lines up with that bigness of what's going on. Or perhaps at times it feels right to zoom in closer. Feel free to play and explore from this vantage point. Taking a few more moments with this, Really being open to understanding the medicine. Even if it doesn't quite make sense yet, let it be welcomed and considered. And now I invite you to begin to bring the tape of that situation to a closing point, letting that specific circumstance just kind of fade away, pausing the tape, stopping the tape, just letting it fade away. And breathing in to your body right now, the medicine of whatever you discovered. Drinking it in, breathing it in, as you would any healing elixir, letting that wisdom be the medicine. Knowing there's no right or wrong. Medicine can be profound, it can be simple, it can be practical. Now I invite you to consider and explore what it would be like if you choose to really receive this medicine, if you choose to continue to move through the world with this new understanding or with this new information, what that might be like. And to explore this, I invite you now to sense into or envision yourself moving through the rest of your day today with this medicine in your being. See or sense or hear who you'd talk to, where you'd go with the rest of your day. If you're going to go exercise later, or if you have another Zoom meeting, or if you're going to have conversation with loved ones, or if you're moving through the rest of your day on your own, how might it be different with this medicine as part of who you are now? Does this shift how you experience the world? How you experience others? how you experience yourself. Would this serve you and your evolution? Noticing what you notice. And now once again, bringing awareness back to the breath, letting your exploration of the rest of your day, of your near future, to begin to fade away. The breath bringing you back right to the present, to the here and now. Knowing that whatever is helpful to you from this experience is invited to stay in your being, stay in your body. And whatever you could do without can fall away. You have that choice. Gently beginning to bring yourself back into the room. If your body's been still and wants to move or stretch, letting that happen. Hearing the sounds around you again. And if you've chosen to close your eyes, gently beginning to reopen them, remembering the room you're in and that there's other people on the screen in front of you. I hope that experience was one that supported your process and wherever you're at this point in time, and really hope that the idea that the universe is oriented towards evolution and towards expansion can help support you in having the courage to really embrace what's happening in your present, in our nation's present, in our world's present, and choose to really face that and choose to really be in it, knowing that there is something that will serve continued evolution within it. And so with that, I now turn the floor over to my friend and wonderful colleague Katie to continue our journey today.
Thank you, Jen. So today we're offering you a variety of ways to connect and to process. And so for this next piece, I'd like to invite some reflection and some processing on your own solo. And so hopefully you have near you, if you'd like, a notebook or pen, pencil, something that might help you in writing and reflecting. And then also perhaps reflecting via writing doesn't necessarily work the best for you. And so I invite you, to draw or to sit quietly and receive or think. So letting this reflection be in the way that suits you. And so I'm going to share and explain this reflection invitation in just one moment. Okay. So the invitation here is to kind of allow yourself to consider, to recall some of the practices of today, the settling in and connecting with what has occurred, what is occurring. The invitations from Marianne to really receive support from the natural world beyond ourselves. And this practice of really seeing in a new way to bring in the medicine of what is occurring. So all of this feeding into this reflection of, well, now what? So from this point, what have I touched in today that calls me to shift? Perhaps what is my new story, or what am I taking forward with me? So we'll take a few moments here. We'll take, to be exact, about 7 minutes here. So you have some time to just let yourself sink in, unhurried, to process, to record, to kind of capture some of what is happening right now within you. Invite Jen, if you don't mind, to kind of look through and maybe read out some of these shares.
Absolutely. So Tiff saying, think globally, act locally, seeing the bigger perspective. Missy, a shift towards growth and feeling uncomfortable, seeking wisdom within myself. Peggy, I appreciate getting in touch again and the healing power of the natural world. I also appreciated a feeling of acceptance that I experienced as medicine. Yasko, feeling what you feel, subjective viewing, but see what you feel, objective viewing. Edie, wisdom in my own knowing of healthy boundaries at this time. Heather and Alex, kindness equals harmony. Nina, listen. Gretchen, I will double down on living in the now, nurturing mind, body, and spirit. Wendy, the bird's eye view to view something from a different perspective, the freedom to play and explore curiosity. June, a shift towards openness to possibilities rather than feeling restricted by uncertainty. Andy, take cautious steps forward into the current environment. Jeanette, my fear has turned into curiosity. Heather and Alex, stay open to support and allow that support to push me forward and help me grow and evolve. That's from Alex. Laura, resilience, light, simplicity, growth, evolution, essential goodness. Alice, being more accepting of myself, others, and situations. Laura adds, hope for healing. Virginia, taking forward, need to nurture connection with others. Andy, appreciate all the goodness I experience. And Charlene, I will focus on letting go of trying to control my world. Well, here's Lisa, permission to grieve the losses and celebrate and explore new opportunities. Find a balance between listening to the world and my inner thoughts, from Corey. Joanna, go further to the edges of what I believe to be rational and, quote, sane, living courageously guided by my inner self towards the life I want to create. Always so profound.
Thank you. Thank you, Jen, for picking up, and thank you, everybody, for just that that depth of focus that is really a gift to all of us, but also to yourself. So at this moment, I'd like us to once again, just for a moment or two, to close our eyes. In a few moments, we'll open to some question and answers, and offer some other interesting tidbits for excitement. But for this moment, taking this moment to sense yourself seated here. And this internal receiving, this internal determination, participation. Affirmation, may it be so. For me, for you, for all of us. May it be so. The hope, the courage in a new story. As you breathe, inviting sense of compassion and loving kindness for yourself. Courageously showing up, engaging, being surprised, making shifts, opening again and again. Inviting this sense of warm compassion and loving kindness to flow out further from you to include all of us. And beyond this us right here, all of us. All the people, all the beings, everyone. May all beings be at peace. May each one of us everywhere have the courage to remain open, have the courage to do the work that we're called to do in the world. And so if your eyes are closed, letting them open, and I'm going to open now to a time of participation, a time of maybe digging in deeper to a certain area where you have a curiosity or a question. And so for this, I think where we'll start, and we'll see how this goes, we'll start by using the chat for this. So let's take a little time now to just note internally if there's a question that has come up, and you can put it in the chat. And when you do, if there's a specific practice or teacher that this question is directed to, you can put that in, if it's for Jen, if it's for me, Katie, if it's for Marianne, or if it's more of a general question, you can leave that part out, and we'll sort that out. So go ahead and take some time to note questions if they're arising. So this is from Edie, and it looks like it's directed to Jen. In shamanism, a question about the contraction, not just the expansion of the universe. It is my understanding that this is a universal law. So the expansion and the contraction.
Yeah, so from the shamanic perspective, I mean, it's wonderful to hear like them being brought knowledge of how science has how science interweaves with their teachings. From the shamanic perspective, kind of contraction is a part of evolution and a part of expansion. So that if you're feeling, and same with kind of destruction and creation, that destruction is part of the cycle of creation, contraction's part of the cycle of expansion. So they're kind of, it's there's no kind of separation. They're part of the same process. And so if you're experiencing something that does feel like more of a contraction, or experiencing something as destructive, being curious about if that's a needed phase that will lead into evolution and where you need to go. So that's how I'd respond to that.
Yeah, I'm hearing too, especially this appreciation of avenues of support, and I share with you that gratitude of that there are different avenues of support. One thing I've gained from some of my learning from and with Jen and Marianne is expanding that. Where does support come from? I found myself more and more in those moments of really sensing support, talking to somebody that isn't human, to look at a tree and to say, I'm going to need a little help here. I'm going to need a little bit of what you got. And it's so helpful to expand, like, oh, there's more here than I knew.
Missy has a question for Marianne. Marianne, could you speak a little more about the poem Fear?
Yes. So I'll speak a little bit, and then if I'm missing the mark that you're wanting spoken to, then we can have dialogue, Missy. So what the poem Fear, how it lands inside of me is an expression of that moment of change, and that can be a little change, or it can be a really big change. It's the moment of transformation when we're on the edge, and we know we're on the edge because we're uncomfortable. And so just as the river is, I don't know what's next. I don't know. It looks like I'm going to disappear. And that there's a wanting to go back. I want to go back to the familiar. as we've heard a lot of people, a lot of expressions of, when are we going to get back to normal? I want to be back to normal. And so in this time, we have had, all of us, at multiple experiences of this edge of, I don't know and I'm afraid, or I don't know and I have anxiety. And then at the end of the poem, there's the reference to, it is only by, because we can't go back, we can't not know what we know now. And so it's only in the transcending the fear of crossing the edge that then we realize, oh, I'm not a river and I don't disappear, I transform into the ocean. And so, but we don't know at that moment before transformation, because transformation is into something new, not yet explored or experienced. And so there's the natural contraction. And then when we just let go into that, then we discover what's next in the new story.
I want to bring in Gretchen's question. I feel I am too focused on taking care of me when my community needs so much. How to balance? Yeah, so balancing that care and connection and service, nourishment to self and also others. I'm just opening to whoever, Jen or Marianne or I, to respond.
I think there's, for me, I really try to, it's a really important question, because we are called to serve humanity right now, and in terms of like really acknowledging that people of color and Black people are in suffering, and that there's a lot beyond our own personal circumstances that are important to really engage with and be a part of, and that can just keep going, the environment, so many things. And for me, I tend to, if I'm finding myself coming up against a block in reaching out or engaging beyond myself, whether that's with a friend, whether that's with a loved one in need, whether that's in the political world, whatever it is, I really try to understand what that contraction is about, bringing back contraction. And if that contraction is a wisdom telling me it's that I need to fortify myself first and prepare before I can expand out, then I really trust that. But if that contraction is more about fear or more about uncertainty or unknowing, then I try to be open to really facing what it is I'm scared of facing, to allow that expansion out to happen, because that tells me that that I am actually prepared. There's just something in my own humanness that's holding me back from engaging, and that tells me that the balanced thing to do is to kind of gently and compassionately help myself through that block. I hope that makes sense. And it's really it's tough to discern sometimes, and so compassion in the whole process is really important.
I'd offer two, thanks, Jen, that it's a similar piece. I mean, one is whenever somebody says the word balance, I remember this one teaching that I heard long ago about how balance is, we often talk about finding balance, kind of arriving at balance, and it really never is that. It is balancing. The same way you would balance on one foot, how you kind of always in the process of balancing. So with that, you sometimes feel that sometimes I'm a little more this way into service of others, and sometimes I'm a little more this way in nourishing myself, and knowing that it's about balancing. It's a continual process. And another thing that I would just offer too is that sometimes balance looks like first something, then another thing. As Jen said, maybe sometimes I need the fortifying before moving out to serve others. And sometimes it can be a parallel track, that often for myself, when I notice, oh, I'm needed, by people I love, or to sign petitions, to donate, to whatever it is, that I will often respond by trying to sense that need and offer it, and at the same time, I am telling myself, oh, it's like refill the cup too, like even as you're being of service, make sure to sleep and to take the walks and all of that, so that it's like balancing in the same moment, so that the energy, the internal energy and nourishment is still being replenished at the same time as it's flowing out.
And I'll just offer another 2 cents. One of the teachings of the world outdoors is that everything is connected to everything. And so when we are taking care of this skin encapsulated thing that we call me, we actually can offer that whatever is needing to be taken care of out into the world, so that as I am kind or nourishing to myself, may I offer that out into the world, so that there's there's nothing wasted. Nothing is wasted. And so in bringing that consciousness into the self-nourishment or self-care, and also consciously offering that into the world, it activates that. That gets activated. And so that we are nourishing and taking care of ourselves in service of being able to be in more service to all other beings. And so holding it in that way may feel different.
We're coming to the end now of this period of interaction, but I do see that there was one more question, and I don't want to ignore that question from Corey. As a 2020 graduate, sometimes I feel like the plans I'm making for post-quarantine are far away and uncertain. Any thoughts on embracing quarantine as a present moment and not just endless anticipation? I'm betting you're not the only one, Corey. Any of us have a short message about embracing quarantine as a present moment?
What is it like in this moment to be me? And bring attention to that and use that as an opportunity to practice self-compassion or kindness, or simply presence and connection of, oh, this is what it's like to be me right now. And bring the light of your consciousness to that.
Beautiful.
And also just encourage, like, I would imagine as a 2020 grad, like I would have kind of my next steps, and they feel like, when are they going to be able to happen? And so just really getting creative and thinking about what you can do in your life to make your life meaningful right now and to feel fulfilled in what you want to have happen in your future. You know, what is possible for you to create, what is possible for you to tackle right now. And it might look a lot different than what you would expect the trajectory to be. And I get that. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for your questions and shares. And we're now going to get to Tiff's question about what are we inviting? How can Monterey Bay Meditation Studio continue to support you in what's next, this new story?
So one of the things that I would like to share about what we're offering right now is a course called Being Outdoors, Sensing the Sacred. And this course is an invitation to cultivate a deep realization of our connection with the living earth. There's several people on this call that are participating in this course right now. And just like in the earth and all that she offers and the universe is infinite, this course is kind of infinite and very, very open. The outdoors is open. The course is open all the time. So you can sign up at any time and take as much or as little as you feel called to. But basically going outdoors offers us the opportunity to sense, to shift from a sense of separation into an awareness of profound belonging in the world. You got like the teeniest little appetizer of it earlier this morning, just the taste of it. And but in the course, there is a buffet of experiences. There are readings and films and invitations of ways of being outdoors and meditations that you can choose from that entire buffet of what you feel called to. And along with that, with the individual experiences, then there are twice monthly Zoom calls that serve as an opportunity to come together, to share, to engage, to meditate, and co-create community of discovery and growing together. And I see some of the people who are already in the course smiling and nodding of affirming this experience. So registration and more information is available on the Monterey Bay Meditation Studio website.
Yeah, so I do a monthly drop-in called Shamanic Journey Meditation Drop-in. It's an hour and a half long, and at those drop-ins, you're invited to practice in a slightly different format than we did today, but not too far from stepping into the energetic world and really continuing to understand the wisdom that it has for us that we can bring back to inform our everyday life. And so the next drop-in journey meditation is actually tomorrow. So if you were wanting to make this a full meditation weekend, feel free to sign up and join us tomorrow from 2:30 to 4. And then the next one after that will be July 19th. They take place on a Sunday each month, once a month. And my next course isn't actually happening until September. I have one that just started, but my next course will be happening in September, starting September 4th. And that is Journey to the Lower World. So that's a 4-week course that's all about understanding the lower world and what that can offer you in your continued healing and development. So that's what I got. Hand it back to you, Katie.
Yeah, thanks. So I want to offer a couple of invitations. Number one is most of you here are are being held in the container of our free online Monterey Bay Meditation Studio community. And Jen referenced that as Mighty Networks earlier. So this has been a gift, really, of this time where we needed to shut our physical doors of the studio, but we found another door to open. And it has been just wonderful to be able to stay engaged with people more frequently. And for me anyway, speaking for myself, I've always talked about our studio community, but it more than ever feels like a community. I can feel the connections more, and I think that's true for others as well. We have weekly meditations I lead on Tuesday evenings. There's space to share and discuss, invitations to embrace gratitude, and probably things will keep changing and evolving there as well. This is also the space where we host our online courses. So if you're not a part of that community, I really invite you to get in there. And again, everything we're talking about is on our Monterey Bay Meditation Studio website. And if you've joined that, but you haven't quite participated yet, I hope this will be a wonderful invitation, seeing these people's faces, nice, great people. So I hope you'll join us and really participate. And I'm so excited as well to announce today the opening of Flourish and Bloom Collective. And this is a smaller community within the online studio community. And so what we're doing in this smaller intimate group is ongoing exploration and discussion of topics that are related to mindfulness and to personal growth. So it is really an ongoing community where we're journeying together. And this can be comfortable. It can give us a sense of accountability. It can challenge us. And so what it is really inviting yourself to show up consistently for yourself, and also to explore what does that mean to show up consistently for yourself, to explore other topics like setting and maintaining boundaries, practicing friendliness with yourself, letting go of judgment. So there's a lot that I'm excited to work with over these next coming weeks and months and beyond in this new forming sub-community. And there'll be a variety of ways to do that. We'll have weekly Zoom meetings with our group. We'll have writing and journal prompts and online discussions, really offering a variety of ways to participate that will suit each person. So I'm excited in that place to learn and connect and transform. And you can find that on our website, somewhere on the homepage. It's there. There's a lot of other things that we're not mentioning that are happening, and we just invite you to participate in whatever way is supportive for you. We also always invite your just contribution in terms of what are you interested in? How can you be supported? What kinds of support are you looking for? Because more than ever, times are changing, and we're kind of staying nimble to offer and to explore what is needed with you. So we will be, as soon as we can, making this video available for you and of today for you and folks who couldn't come. And then when we do that, we'll be editing out personal shares. So not to worry about that, but it's bringing in the teaching content through a video. And you'll also get a follow-up email with some links and perhaps some other information if you wanted to explore some of these things that we're mentioning, and in case you didn't write them all down. So I really, really thank you for being here. This is our first thing of this kind to be co-hosted with our different teachers and also to invite a large number of people. And we just really appreciate you being here and your participation and presence. And I'll ring the bell to close us.